My name is Emily Carter, and at 17, I escaped what the world now calls the House of Horrors in Perris, California. My 12 siblings and I were chained, starved, and abused by our parents for years in ways that are hard to even speak about. But on January 14th, 2018, I crawled out a window and called 911. What the police found inside shocked the world. I grew up in a family of 13 kids ranging from a toddler to 29 years old, and our parents, Michael and Sarah Carter. To the outside world, we were just a big quirky family. There's a photo of us at Disneyland, all in matching red shirts, smiling for the camera. Our parents even renewed their wedding vows in Vegas, parading us around like props. But those moments were lies. Behind closed doors, our home in Perris, California was a prison. We slept all day and stayed awake at night, cut off from the world. Our parents called it homeschooling, but it was control. They registered our house as a private K-12 school, so no one ever checked on us. I was 17 and didn't know what a police officer was. I'd never walked on a sidewalk or felt the freedom of stepping outside alone. The house reeked of neglect, mold, trash, and despair. My siblings and I clung to each other in whispers, trying to make sense of a life that felt like a cage. The abuse started when I was too young to understand it, but it worsened after we moved from Texas to California. At first, our parents tied us with ropes for disobeying, small things like sneaking an extra piece of bread. When one of us escaped the ropes, they switched to chains and padlocks, bolting us to our beds. If we washed our hands above our wrists, they accused us of playing with water and chained us for days. We were allowed one shower a year, and the house was so filthy I'd wake up gagging, my lungs burning from the stench. My heart raced constantly, not just from fear, but from hunger that felt like it was eating me alive. I'd lie awake, my stomach twisting, wondering if I'd ever eat enough to feel whole. They'd buy pies, apple, cherry, pumpkin, and leave them on the counter, taunting us. "Don't touch it," they'd say, watching us stare, our mouths watering. Once, my oldest sister, Lily, who was 9, took a cracker from the pantry. As punishment, our mom forced her to watch feral dogs rip her pet cat apart in the backyard. Lily's screams still echo in my mind, a sound that made me feel like I was breaking apart inside. That cruelty shattered us, planting a seed of fear that grew with every year. The torture wasn't just physical. Smoke alarms screeched endlessly because they wouldn't replace the batteries, a relentless noise that felt like it was drilling into our skulls. They filled the house with unopened Christmas gifts, toys, books, games we could never touch. It was a twisted game, dangling hope in front of us only to snatch it away. We weren't allowed to play or talk much, but we had journals. In the dark, chained to our beds, we scribbled our pain, our dreams, our anger. We filled hundreds of those journals, pages heavy with our silent cries. Our parents told us we were worthless, that we deserved this life. They neglected our pets too, letting them starve alongside us. By 2018, I was so frail I looked like a child. My 29-year-old sister Lily weighed just 82 pounds. We were all so malnourished that people couldn't tell the adults from the kids. The mental scars were the heaviest. Every day, I questioned if I'd ever feel human again, or if I was too broken to deserve a better life. For 2 years, I planned our escape with my siblings, whispering in stolen moments when our parents weren't listening. We knew we had one chance, and failure meant worse punishment, or death. I'd sneak my older brother's deactivated cell phone, praying it could still dial 911. My heart pounded every time I touched it, terrified I'd get caught. The plan was to run during a family move to Oklahoma, when we'd be in public, surrounded by strangers. I imagined slipping away in a crowd, finding a phone, and begging for help. But in January 2018, things spiraled. Our mom was in a rage, throwing plates, screaming that she'd chain us all up for good in Oklahoma. She used words so vile they burned into my memory, promising a life of even darker torment. My younger siblings were sobbing, their eyes wide with fear, and I felt a fire in my chest. I couldn't let this continue. That night, I grabbed the phone and my 13-year-old sister Ava and I climbed out a window. The cold air hit my face, and for a moment I felt alive. Ava got scared and ran back, but I kept going, my bare feet hitting the pavement. My hands trembled so badly I could barely dial 911. I told the operator, "My parents are abusive, my 2 little sisters are chained up to their beds. We live in filth. I think we're gonna die." My voice cracked, but I stayed on the line, hiding in the shadows until help arrived. When the police entered our home, they stepped into a nightmare. The air was thick with the stench of decay, walls smeared with grime, floors littered with trash. In one room, they found 3 of us chained to rusted bed frames, our wrists and ankles raw from the metal. The others were in cramped, dark rooms, some curled up on thin mattresses, too weak to stand. Scattered across the floor were our journals, hundreds of them, tattered and stained, spilling out stories of our pain and fleeting hopes. It was January 14th, 2018, and our parents, Michael and Sarah, were arrested that day, their reign of terror finally over. I thought rescue meant safety, but for some of us, the nightmare wasn't over. The youngest siblings were placed in foster care, and 6 of them ended up with a family that turned out to be another kind of horror. They were slapped with sandals, their faces stinging from the blows, and forced to eat their own vomit as punishment for being disobedient. They were told to kill themselves, that they were unlovable, words that echoed the cruelty of our parents. The foster father, Diego Rivera, even abused them, preying on their already broken spirits. When I heard this, my heart shattered all over again. I'd risked everything to free us, only to learn that the system meant to protect my siblings had betrayed them. I felt helpless, haunted by their pain, wondering if I could have done more. I lay awake at night, guilt and anger mixing with my own trauma, questioning how the world could fail us twice. In 2022, those siblings sued Riverside County and the foster agency, fighting for justice against a system that failed to vet the family properly. By 2024, they reached a settlement, a small victory in a sea of hurt. Diego was sentenced to 7 years in prison, while his wife and daughter got probation, a punishment that felt too light for the scars they left. Our parents pleaded guilty in 2019 to torture, child cruelty, and false imprisonment. They're serving life sentences, with parole possible after 22 years. Sarah wrote an apology letter, acting like parenting classes could erase years of torment. Michael stayed silent, knowing the weight of what they'd done. The foster system's failure cut deep. It felt like the world had turned its back on us again. Today, my siblings and I are rebuilding step by step. In 2022, I moved into my own apartment in Southern California with my 4 guinea pigs and 4 dogs who teach me how to love after a life of neglect. Therapy is helping me unravel the trauma, though some nights I still hear chains rattling in my dreams. I'm proud of us. My sister Rachel got married in 2024, and we danced at her Gothic-themed wedding, laughing and crying together. We're so close, sharing inside jokes and a bond nothing can break. In 2022, we went to a Justin Bieber concert, screaming and jumping, tears streaming as I remembered watching his videos in secret, dreaming of freedom. That night felt like a miracle. Some of us are thriving, working, volunteering. Others still struggle, but we're here, fighting. That's our victory. This story is a reminder that no matter what you're going through, you're not alone, and there's always a way forward. I was 17, terrified, but I found the strength to escape. You can reach out to a friend, a teacher, or a hotline. Someone will listen. You deserve safety and hope. Check the links below for resources. Thank you for listening. Please share this story to spread awareness about resilience. Subscribe for more survivor stories, and if you have a story, reach out. We're here to listen.